This training is designed to assist public school employees understand the LCTS codes for completing random moments. The objectives for this training is to help school staff have a better understanding of the LCTS activity codes that apply to public school employees, what they mean, and how to choose the correct one. Second, we'll show you where to find reliable resources and reference materials so you can look up additional details or guidance whenever you need it. As mentioned in the previous training, you'll receive a random moment that looks similar to this example. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see a list of lettered options. Those are the activity codes you'll be selecting from. This training is designed to help you understand what each of those codes actually means and where to find additional resources that are specific to your role. Before we go into each of the codes, it's important to remember that codes A through F are specifically tied to work related to children who are either in foster care or at imminent risk of foster care placement. This includes activities like assessing risk, providing case management, completing administrative work related to those children, or even attending training focused on working with at-risk youth. If your activity doesn't relate to one of these situations, then you'll want to select a different code outside of this range. Codes A through C all connect to children who are either in foster care or at risk of entering it. Code A covers activities related to assessing or reporting possible child maltreatment. Use this code when you are actively involved in determining whether a situation meets the criteria for mandated reporting or requires a foster care candidacy referral. Examples include consulting with colleagues about a disclosure, discussing whether the situation meets the threshold for reporting, or completing documentation related to that decision. It's important to note that this is a short-term activity. It only applies up to the point that a report is made or the decision is finalized not to make a report. After that, ongoing case management or service coordination would fall under a different code, depending on the type of activity. Code B covers coordination work, such as when you're helping align services or support for a foster care candidate. Code B3 applies when you're coordinating services for a child already in foster care. It covers activities like collaborating with social workers, agencies, or service providers to support the child's case plan, evaluate services, or assist reintegration back home or into school. Remember, this is coordination only, not direct service delivery. It also includes time spent on communication, documentation, and travel connected to these coordination activities. Code B2 focuses on preventing foster care placement by coordinating services that keep children safely at home. It includes activities like working with county staff, school personnel, and community providers to identify needs and connect families with supports. This can involve meetings, phone calls, or case planning related to stabilizing the home environment. Again, the key distinction is that you are coordinating services, not delivering them. If the child later enters foster care, coding should switch back from B2 to B1. Code C involves administrative or court-related work. It might include working with a school liaison police officer in preparation for court or assisting with any activities to support any petitions for the county related to foster care placement. We have two new codes, B3 and P. Code B3 is used when working with a child who is considered a prevention candidate, meaning the child is not yet in foster care, but there are concerns that place them at imminent risk. Activities under this code focus on coordinating services and preventing foster placement. This could include making referrals for parent support programs like Parents as Teachers or motivational interviewing, contacting child protection staff if maltreatment is suspected, or participating in case discussions about prevention plans. It also includes monitoring or communicating with families and other service providers about how services are working, as well as evaluating whether those services are effective. Remember, Even activities like completing related paperwork or traveling for these preventative related services can be counted under this code. Codes D through F are still specific to foster care related work. Code D is used for training related to child welfare topics. This includes professional development, presentations, or workshops focused on early identification of children in need, foster care candidacy, or family preservation efforts. The key point: this is training time, not direct service time. Whether you're attending, leading, or coordinating these sessions, it all falls under Code D. And don't forget to include paperwork and travel time related to the training. Code E applies when you're training foster or adoptive parents. The focus is education and skill building for those caring for children in placement. Code F is used when you're actually providing treatment or therapeutic counseling, whether it's one-on-one, family sessions, or group therapy. Both codes emphasize direct support to improve child well-being and family stability. Always include time spent preparing materials, completing documentation, or traveling for these activities. Codes G through I all relate to medical assistance in some way. Code G is focused on helping families learn about MA or determine eligibility. Code H is about coordinating or referring for MA-covered health services. For example, connecting a student to day treatment. Code I is used when you're directly providing a service that could be billed to MA, even if you don't personally handle the billing. Think of it as the direct care category within LCTS. Codes J and K are the ones you'll probably use the most often if you work in a school setting. Code J covers most of your day-to-day educational duties, things like IEP work, classroom prep, or staff communication. Code K is more about administrative or non-student activities, like attending meetings or when you're on leave. A good rule of thumb is if it's part of your instructional or support role, it's likely Code J. If it's general or administrative, it's probably Code K. Now let's look at the other new code of Code P. This code applies when staff are either attending or providing training that falls under the definition of child welfare, particularly those focused on prevention and early intervention. The main goal of these trainings is to help staff and partners recognize early warning signs in students and families so they can connect them to support before a crisis occurs. Examples might include attending a training on identifying child maltreatment, learning about prevention candidacy, or helping staff understand how to refer families for support. This code also covers time spent preparing for, presenting, or traveling to these trainings. In short, Code P is all about building the capacity of local collaborative staff to better support students and families through prevention-focused education and awareness. The purpose of today's training isn't to memorize every single code or situation. That would be overwhelming and unnecessary. Instead, this training is designed to help you understand the overall structure of the codes and how they relate to your work. You'll also get information about where you can find additional support and reference materials if you ever need help choosing the right code. All of these materials are available right on the website where you accessed this training. The code chart gives you a quick snapshot of all the codes, A through K. I recommend printing or bookmarking it. The reference guide goes a little deeper with examples to help you decide which code best fits your activity. For public school employees, the state has created a flow chart to help guide code choice decision making. I think it's one of the easiest guides to use because it visually groups different activities into categories across the top. Those are the yellow codes you'll see. You can then follow the arrows or steps in the chart to figure out which activity code best fits the work you're doing at that moment. This chart is also available online under the Public School Employees section of the LCTS website if you ever need to reference it later. Please note that the new codes B3 and P are not listed on this flowchart. Just a quick reminder about participant responsibilities. When you receive a random moment email, respond within 3 business days. It really only takes a minute. These random moments are how we document what kind of work is being done across programs. Make sure to allow the dhs.fod.lcts@state.mn.us LCTS email address so those messages don't end up in your spam folder. And if you ever have questions, contact your site contact or Art the coordinator. At this point, you should have completed both parts of the LCTS training, the overview of the program and random moments, and now the code selection training. Your next step is to go back to the website where you access this training and complete the participant checklist and the Google form. These forms confirm your eligibility and are required before you can begin receiving random moments. Once those are submitted, you'll be all set to participate. If you have additional questions that were not addressed in these training videos, please reach out to me by email or phone.